So I hope to see you all there. All right, let's get this started. Maybe.
Sure.
Here we go. So as we travel through the growing our business and running our business, we're still in the grow your business phase of this, right? We're still understanding the systems and tools and the pathway to actually getting an opportunity. All right, so let's what successful lead generate for buyers is, this is, what we do in our business. These are the activities, right? In a generalized way, lead generate for buyers and sellers, make seller listing presentations and get listings, make buyer presentations and get listings, and preview real estate, right? So they say there's a lot in that first one. All right, let's move on to the meat of this conversation. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to discuss before going into today? Because you've taken, what number is this? This is number 5. So you've taken 4 of these classes already. Any questions or observations that you'd like to share? Okay. So, the highlighted activities on this, all of these activities are important to your business. The highlighted ones are the ones we're going to focus on today, and hopefully bring some light to that. Every day we need to generate for buyers and sellers, and so it's very, very, that is germane to your daily. And then just by being here today, you're going to get training and coaching. That's great. You're in training and coaching. And finally, we're going to set some goals for our business. All right. So let's move on, Carly. But today we're going to be learning how to set a meaningful goal and how to complete a 411 with steps to move towards a goal. Right. We'll get more into the 411 when we do business planning. But the 411 is 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. It's about breaking down our goals and our activities into a weekly action plan. When it comes to today is going to be a fun day, is what it says. Today, we're going to cover setting goals, which are part of running your business. To do that, we're going to ask the big question: where do you want to go? What's your motivation? And last but certainly not least, how do you want to get there? These are big questions, and they will be asked over and over again today and throughout your career. These are, you want to stay connected to the motivational piece of this. You're a business owner now. This is your business, your activities that lead to your results. And the more control you have over both of those, the more fruitful business you're going to have. All right. And so the first one is envisioning your big life. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. Okay, that's the whole path there. Who we are is, the tools we're playing, the tool we're playing the game with, right? Where we want to go, which is our goal. So who we are, and the tool and the destination determine what activities we do, and what results we get. Pretty much says it all, right? The One Thing is a book by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan about how to structure your life to achieve your goals. We're going to talk about a few of the principles from The One Thing today, but you should definitely check it out for yourself. It is one of the most, it's one of the easiest books to digest, and it's directly not focused on real estate. It's more of a personal growth piece that is so easy to consume. I would even, if you had teenage children, I would give them The One Thing. It's a great tool book for them. It's important to set goals because the opposite of this quote is also true. What you do and what you accomplish determines who you are and where you go, right? If you invert that, right? If your activities don't have a guiding goal, you'll likely be very busy and not have a lot to show for it. The mission of Keller Williams is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. None of those things just happen, right? And setting goals that matter means doing work that matters. It matters in the achievement of what you want to achieve, your goal, whether it's a spiritual goal, a physical goal, a hobby, a sport accomplishment, intellectual endeavor, or an academic achievement. You need to have a goal in achieving it if you want to get there in any reasonable amount of time. Okay, Carly. Part of achieving goals is working hard, and I think we can all agree on that. If you don't put in the time and the effort, you won't get very far. Carly, you want to move that forward, please? When you look at this graph, what else is important to setting and meeting goals?
Setting a time that you want to reach that goal.
Absolutely. And how much, and what else?
And what effort you're going to really put into, like what's efforts.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, when I have a lot of agents, probably some on this call here, that are transitioning from one work environment to real estate, and in that we have to be very, in a way, they're almost at an advantage that they have limitations on the time that they can spend. It forces them to look a little closer at what you're doing in that limited amount of time, opposed to someone who's going at full force and they have this giant bucket of time and nothing else to restrict them. It forces you to look at your time in a clinical way. You could still have big actions in that limited time, but it's that you are doing activities that lead to big results, right? You don't get big outcomes from thinking small. When we talk about thinking here, we're talking about thinking big when setting goals and thinking big on how to reach those goals. You have to ask, what are you doing? How do you do it? And who are you doing it with? These answers can limit your outcome or they can propel you forward. What I would suggest you all do in these big goals and thinking big, I should say, not, and big big is applicable to your personal endeavors, right? If you are in a limited time frame situation, you have 10 hours a week that you're spending on real estate, you could still have big thinking, right? Your goal is going to be truncated because you only have so much time, but you could still have big thinking. That big thinking is, I want to make this much so that I can feel comfortable in leaving the position I'm in. That's big thinking. It's not just a big number, right? So you could don't think because you have limited time that you can't think big, okay? It's just relative to the time you have. And you're going to put in the effort for sure. But you still want to think big. You still want to have that stretch. The question you need to ask is, how big is your box? If you go to the next slide, Carly, if you're not thinking big, you're creating an artificial ceiling of achievement for yourself, as you see here. There are only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much any one person can do with those hours, right? Time you limited yourself and your business by thinking, Can you think about a time, I guess they want me to share a time where I limited myself or my business by thinking small? Well, it gets more into a limiting belief for me. And I guess when I started real estate, I didn't have all the information. I didn't feel confident with the information that I had. So when I started to do more investment properties, I probably was I created a limiting belief for myself that affected my effectiveness with the clients. And so I had a partner at the time who was masterful at the conversations, and he while he also didn't have all the information, his confidence and his force, his authenticity were enough to get him past that. And then surrounding yourself with professionals who have the information enabled him to succeed at a very, very high level, or be more impactful with clients at a very high level. Anyone else want to share a time where you limited a time you limited yourself and your business by thinking small? It can be real estate or non-real estate related. I mean, many new agents limit themselves right away. Maybe they don't call their sphere or just hope business will come their way. Maybe they aren't systematic about lead generation. Maybe they refuse to learn scripts that would make their job easier. Most of those agents don't stay in the business because they treat it as a business, or they burn out because they aren't seeing a good return for their time and effort. This sounds like a good place to get into what does it mean to be a professional, right? A professional knows what they know what they don't know, and they know where to get the answers that they don't have. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to have the curiosity and the business acumen to say, hey, let me, I believe I know the answer to that question, but I want to make sure before I give you any wrong information, let me check about that and get back to you. Or let me take all your questions and answer them all at one time, and you go back and you do your research and or tap into your trusted sources to get that information. We're only limited by our own limiting beliefs. Right? Okay, you want to move on to the next slide? Envision your big life. Okay, so this is a envision your big life, Tim. We're going to do an activity that will help you envision your big life. Once you have that vision in place, then you can set meaningful goals that will bring you closer to that life. Once you have the goals, we can talk about how to reach them. It all begins with a vision. So, I don't know if you guys have a participant guide in front of you. Hopefully you do. And so what that looks like is here, right? And that's a circle with 5 boxes coming off of it, right? And on each of the 5 rectangles, write a person or cause that you care about. What would you like to do for that person or cause? Repeat for each rectangle, right? And so an example is maybe you want to be able to care for your parents as they age, send your kids to school without debt, or pay for a vacation for you and your best friend. For a cause, perhaps you would like to be a named supporter of your local animal shelter, or serve on the board of directors for a charity you care about. All right, these are all things that they're meaningful to you. You can be one of the people who you care about also. You could be in there, right? Perhaps your big life includes prioritizing your health so you have more time and energy to give, or paying off your student loans. There are no wrong answers in this, okay? And so include an estimate of how much each action would cost. And then in the center of the circle, quantify what this big life requires financially. How much would these things cost? All right. Some parts of your big life will likely require time as well as money, of course. As a business owner, you will need to budget time in terms of money as well. So if it's going to take you 20 hours and you want to quantify that, how much would you pay yourself to do that? It's $50 an hour, it's $100 an hour. So you want to get to the cost of it, even if it is time. What would you need to make to be able to spend more time doing the things that you love? And so the rectangles in this particular exercise, they represent your big life. They represent all the impact that you will have in the world, right? And in your life. And the center is your goal. It's the cost of that. So take a couple minutes. Does anybody have any questions about that? Esther, you could just draw that circle and the 5 squares or rectangles around it and make it work, right?
So
and
Joe,
Carly, go ahead, Michelle.
I have a question. So this isn't our goal for the year. This is our goals throughout our lives, right?
Yeah, this is start to think out of the box. You're not starting from the inside out. You're starting from the outside and you're working your way in. This is just big life conversations. You're starting to look about outside of business. What impact do I want to have on my life and the world around me?
Got it.
So it's a way of, we'll get to what you need to do to get there, right? But this doesn't have to be even like this we're going to take these goals, right? And at some point or another, they'll come back into the picture. They're not to be accomplished in a year. It could be a 5-year plan, right? I want to donate, I want a building in my name, and so, that could be a series of smaller goals leading to that big goal.
Got it.
So, right, for the sake of this, it's about looking bigger, limitations. If money was no object, and then we'll work into that, because what we're going to find out. I'm going to stop talking for a second. You guys play with that. All right. What did you guys find in there? Anything interesting you like to share? Don't be bashful, you guys.
I'll go, but let me step out really quick.
What did you find out in that, Nara?
Okay, so I kind of started doing this last night with my GPS and 411.
Oh, I can't.
Actually, I had all these thoughts in my head, but then when I sat down and put it on paper, I was struggling because I was struggling on the 411 part where it breaks down into personal by the week. But overall, you want me to share what my overall big life is?
Sure. So when you add up the cost of your big life and what you'd like to, kind of create in a legacy for yourself, what was the cost of that? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, well, okay. I didn't add it up. I just did. Sorry, I'm at work. But I just filled out the little bubbles. So it would be to obviously finish paying off my fashion school loan. Yeah. And then buying a new car. And then I do want to actually buy a condo within 1 or 2 years so I can stop wasting my money on rent.
Yeah.
So I think I haven't done the numbers, but those are my top 3.
Yeah, I would encourage you to do the numbers because you really want to be able to visualize it as much as possible, right? Because this is 364,000 in this little example here, right? Yeah. We could break that down. That doesn't need to be it doesn't mean you have to make $1 million next year, right? This could be a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year goal over time, right? Get through school debt free, right? Sarah, for Sarah and Hunter, for the kids, right? That is that could be, you could build out a plan for that. Some of it is proactive. Some of it is managing, let's buy an investment property that pays out, $2,000 a month. And, my goal is and then that $2,000 times 12 is 24 times, in 6 years, you can pay down their college, right? Mm-hmm. Just in a really simple equation. So there are ways to, it's not about saving the money. It's about creating wealth. It's about creating revenue stream. It's about creating a plan for all of these aspirational big life goals, and to get you out of yourself too, right? And to dream big, I think is a really important, it's something we lose along the way as we're getting to adulthood, right? I had a friend who taught primary school, and she's like, he said, and it wasn't even a she, he said, I will never teach anything above the third grade. And I'm like, why? Like, the conversations get more interesting. He's like, no. He's like, I love that, before the third grade and below, they're still asking big questions. What is the universe? What makes plants grow? What's inside our body, right? He said by the time the third grade, they get squashed down. People don't answer. Parents get frustrated. Whatever. They don't have the information, and they stop asking those big questions. He said, "I want to live in a brain that still asks those big questions." We, as adults, we limit ourselves too much. We have too much information about what we can and can't do. And in actuality, there's really nothing you can't do, right? I mean, I see people overcome adversity. I watch too much TikTok, but I see people overcome adversity like on the daily. And it just reasserts my understanding that really anything is possible. Okay. So, and I think that's what this conversation is about, is like, get back to that childish, like, I'm going to be an astronaut when I grow up. Because you can get your own art. You can buy a condo. You can buy a new car. You can pay off school debt. There's a path to that. Right? Direct and indirect.
I wish that this was actually, it's all really valuable information. And these are things that would have been great to be more emphasized, even in our childhood, more so about goal setting. Yeah. But on that note,
you're gonna have the opportunity to raise a child and give them that information someday.
Exactly. Well, that was one of my goals. So
Renee, or is
baby.
that
a baby?
Yeah, it's
expensive goal.
Yes, it's the best thing ever. A friend just told me last night that she's pregnant, and she knows that I'm super baby friendly, and so she's like, call me for advice.
Oh,
because she's also in the same role as I am. So it's a magical experience. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And but the payoff is massive.
Yeah, it was just on a side note. A friend of mine called me and said, "Oh, I have these Jack Johnson tickets, and I'm like, "Oh, amazing. I love Jack Johnson." Right. And she's like, "But it's in October and I'm having a baby through surrogacy, and the baby will be due in late June." And she's like, "You're going to be really tired. So I'm not going to invite you anymore." And she's like, "You're going to feel really guilty to leave the baby anyway." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know what that feels like yet, but she knows after 5 kids. So I guess so."
Yeah. Again, a limiting belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be tired. So what?
I'm tired now.
Again, so what? I'm tired of, I've been on the earth longer than you. You could choose to have that define you, or you could just go take a nap.
Yeah.
Right. It's a choice, and there are ways of not being tired.
Yeah.
Right. Enjoy your life.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good reminder.
All right. now we have a vision and some goals, right? Let's look at what it means for you to achieve that goal through real estate. Okay, real estate is a tool. All right, where do we got? What do we got next, Carly? Keep on going. All right. So the first thing you need to understand is how your commission works, right? Many new agents get the check for their first closing. They pocket it all. It's an exciting amount of money, and then get in trouble down the line, taxes particularly. Let's talk about where the money goes and how much will actually be going to your goal. These numbers are very general, okay? And I'm going to probably change some of them for you, and are meant only as an example. Actual amounts may vary, especially if you're on a team, right? So first, Carly, go to the next one. I'm not sure what that next slide looks like. Oh, yeah. So first, if you're, I see what's happening. So see the breakdown here. So first, if you're in the seller side of the transaction, half of the commission amount goes to the buyer's agent, right? So 50% of that 5% on average, right? So in let me back up a little bit. In a traditional listing, 6% is the goal to get a 6% listing, and then the seller side offers part of that to the participating buying agent. That could range anywhere from 3.5% to 2%. If it's lower than, 3% to 2.5%. If it's any lower than 2%, it's a weak agent and a disoriented seller, right? But it happens. The point is that of the total listing commission, half of it is traditionally presented to the offered to the buyer's agent, and half to the seller's agent. So you're cutting that in half already, right? And then click. Once you have your half, about a third goes to the market center to cover your company dollar, franchise, and royalty fees, right? So it's that was about third. A third is a lot, but around a third, let's say that works about well. And then after you pay the market center, roughly another third goes back into your business. This covers marketing, operating expenses, signs, your cars, your phone, and anything else you need to conduct and grow your business. Click. And then finally, you get your share with the caveat. You take home includes your taxes, but put money away for your taxes religiously. You do not want to have a year's worth of work wiped out because you failed to plan to pay your taxes. Okay, so when a client starts to reach into your pocket, start to look at the time and energy that it takes to get here, to do the job, and and to pay for all of the pieces of running a business, right? So your profit is in the classic equation, your profit is 40%. It's 30, 30, 60, 30, 30, 40. No, I went that way. 30, 30, 40. And it's the cost of sale, expenses, and then profit. And that's after you have split with the agent on the other side. All right. Does everybody get that? Did I confuse you even more? Questions?
I understand.
Okay.
Got it? All right, great. All right, let's move on. So now, on the slide. All right, so these are examples of the average sale price and your average commission. So this is, we live in an anomaly, guys. We live in a place where the sale price is much, much higher than the rest of the country. $300,000, you'd be hard pressed to find something for $300,000 in our market.
Mexico.
Yeah, but
North Carolina.
Right, the 3%, but we go to these conventions, and there are people on stage doing $80 million worth of business, and it represents 300 transactions, 250 transactions. The cost of sale for that is so high. You would need to do 250 transactions. You need to have a team and an infrastructure in place to support that at $9,000 a clip, right? Crazy. So our average sale price in this office is $1.2 million. But for the sake of this, we're going to use this example, right? Our objective is in this activity is to get real about tying your business to your goals. We're going to figure out, based on how much money you'll receive from a transaction, how many transactions you'll need this year to meet your goal. So, if you look behind me, I have a 135 set up, and that 135 illustrates the, in one example, someone who wants to make $100,000, right? And to do that, this person's, on average, their sale price is $750,000. That's 6 units, right? If it was $300,000 to get to that same place, you'd have to double that. Does that make sense? So that's what we're gonna look at today. What is the cost of my goal? What are the elements of my goal? So here you got average sale price, and at 3% per side, that the gross commission income will be $9,000, right? That's 3% of $300,000. Is my guess. All right. Get ready to, all right. So we're going to estimate the average sale price and average GCI in our market. As you experience selling more homes, you will be able to estimate an average price, sales point, and GCI that fits your transactions more accurately. But in the interim, we're going to, everybody on here is new, so you don't have any historical information. If you do have a sphere of influence that you believe you understand what price point they're buying and selling at, you could use that too. But for the sake of this exercise, let's use $1 million because it's nice and easy. All right. So, Carly, can you move to the next? Oh, here we go. So, is this the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's next.
So in our market center, the average sales price is $1 million, right? And so in that, the gross commission it's not 3,000. It's not 3%. It's really 2.5 is the average gross commission. So that means that the total gross commission for $1 million sale would be $25,000. Does that make sense? $25,000 per side. So in this equation, I think if you click through it, you'll probably there he goes. So if you're looking, $30, so this is working through the equation backwards, right? If you're looking for a net income goal of $100,000, you want to add the company dollar and royalty cap to that, which in our case is not 30, but it's $32,000. Business expenses of $50,000, I'd say that is pretty high. I'd say that you're probably looking at like more like 20,000. Let's say 20,000. I was going to say 15, but 20. Let's 20 for the sake. So it's 100, then it's 32 for the cap and the company dollar. It's 132, and then on another 20,000 would make it 100. And this, so this number then becomes 152, right? And so you have $152,000 as your total gross commission income that you want to achieve to net 100,000. And now you have an average gross commission income of $25,000. Does that make sense? So then how many times does $25,000 divide into 152,000? Roughly 6, but for the sake of this conversation, we'll round up, even though it's $2,000 above. So we'll say 7. So your annual transaction goals at $1 million per transaction is 7. Does that make sense? When you add up the cost of sale, which is the company dollar and royalty cap, that's the cost of sale. Then your business expenses, that's marketing and everything else, that's $20,000. That'll bring you to 152. Average gross commission per side is not $9,000, but it's actually $25,000. And so you divide that 25,000 into the 152, and that will bring us to 6 and 2,000 over. So I'd say round it up to 7, just to make sure. Questions? So you can do that with your goal. If it's $100,000, then I would adjust and then look at the average sale price of your peers. If your peers are selling $750,000, buying $750,000 houses or $500,000 houses, so that's going to change the equation. We'll be doing this again, guys. Don't get hung up on it. Absorb. We'll be doing this again in the business planning clinic. Anybody need help with that? Okay. Go ahead. What was that? Who was that?
I understand it. I get it.
Okay, good. All right, let's move on to the next one. And then what we'll do next is you can move that into command. You put your goals into command. Carly, if you can fast forward. Command has goal setting and tracking built right into it. You can do reports and as your deals go into the system, you'll see it come up on here. So you can track really, really easily into that. And we will, in the command class, we'll cover that also. All right. All right, let's move on to some really important concepts. All right, do the right activities. We'll give it one more shot. There you go. This is one of the most important business principles that you will learn. It's called the 80-20 rule. In the 1940s, quality control manager, Dr. Joseph M. Joran, documented a life-changing universal principle that he called vital few and trivial many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of your efforts lead to the vast majority of your results. He attributed some of his findings to the statistical work of the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who had observed that 80% of the wealth in his country was owned by 20% of the population. As fate would have it, that broadly embraced principle came to be known as Joran's Law. But as Pareto's principle, these days we simply call it the 80-20 principle, right? The idea that 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results may be one of the most powerful principles you can apply to in your life. It's about getting the most from your time and your effort. It's about maximizing your results. It's about having focus. I mean, look at our individual lives. We stay connected to 20% of our friends, right? If you build out your wedding list, that goes wide, and you look at your wedding list, really, you're interacting with 20% of them. I interact with 20% of my clothes, right? There's the stuff in the back and the stuff in the front. I wear the stuff in the front, right?
That is so true.
It's crazy. As human beings, we have only the capacity to focus on so much. And so in your business, when you have, I consult producing agents very weekly, and in that I look at their business. Where's your business coming from? Okay. Oh, well, most agents don't even look at where their business is coming from. But imagine if you looked at where your business is coming from, and the majority of my top agents, they come from referrals and their sphere of influence. So, and if you go into your referral list and your sphere, and you do, the 20% of your, you take that 20%, and that they're the people that are really sending you referrals, right? Just that 20%. And I would argue that if you go into the 20% of the 20%, that's where the majority of your deals are coming from. If you're saying, oh yeah, I got 20 deals from my sphere last year, and you look at those 20 deals, they're coming from a very small percentage inside of your sphere. So let's say I would say it's not 20% of you. If you have 1,000 people in your sphere, you're not getting 200. You're not getting 200 leads, right? You're getting 20 leads, right? So it's 20% is 200, and then 20% of the 20% is really getting down to the most fruitful, the most fruitful group of people. And then imagine if you were putting 80% of your efforts into that 20% of the 20%, and how that would affect your results. That's really what we have to get into, okay? So the 80-20 rule is focusing on that 20%. And as you evolve your business, focusing on the 20% of the 20%. It's a crazy idea. It works in every aspect of your life. Okay, let's move on. And Gary asked it another way in the one thing. He says, what is the one thing you could do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? That's another way to identify your 20% is asking this question. While asking the question is simple, it can take some practice to dig down and to find the best answer. And so, are we gonna work on that together?
Yeah.
Over time, we will. Yeah.
It's the right there in that quote is where probably most of my limiting beliefs live.
Yeah.
What I could do right now sounds easier than what I need to do. I guess my limiting belief is the fear, and when I hear myself saying it, I hate it because because I know it. I've even gone to like workshops before on like self-development and being able to put yourself out there and take risks. And it's crazy because if you don't practice it, because I practiced it when I was in the seminar thing, and I accomplished some great things, but it's crazy when life happens and time goes by, it doesn't stay. It's a practice. It's a continual consistent practice to work on, you know?
Yeah.
And it reminds me that I can do this. It's just, I just need to exercise that muscle again, you know?
We all do it. It's a discipline.
Yeah.
Okay, right? It's you know, we like to think is once we do something for 60 days, it becomes a habit, right?
Right.
And some days I still struggle with brushing my teeth. Right? Maybe I'll just gargle today. That's disgusting. I'm like a 15-year-old boy. But the point is, it's about discipline. It's saying, I want to have clean teeth. I don't want to be the guy with bad breath, right? So I am going to make sure, set up checks and balances, whatever it is to develop a discipline to brush my teeth every day, or to act in a certain way, or to take this activity every day, right? To do my lead generation for 2 hours in the morning and not have anything else disrupt it.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to build a support system for that. Reminders in my phone. It's in my calendar. Then it has to be a reminder, and then it has to be and then I have my assistant has to protect that space, and then I have to honor that space, and do the activities.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move forward. No, so here's a slide of the activities we see every day. We know this is how successful agents spend their time and how you'll spend your time. Just remember that everything on this list will have to be done. We're trying to identify what your 20% is, which action will get us the most and best results so that we can do everything else.
Lead generate.
Yeah. It really, I'd like to say it's something else. I'd like to say it's watching, a movie a day, but it's not. It's lead generating, and again, when you're thinking about lead generating, don't get hung up on the result. Okay,
Right.
this is just about being in relationship with people. Lead generation for us is fostering our existing relationships. Hey, Esther, how you doing? What can I do for you? And getting into new relationships. Hey, Brenda, this is I'm Joey, and I'm here to help in any way, shape I can. How can I help you? Right? That is, and the purpose of this is to drive our relationships to trust. For Brenda to say, that Joey is of value and I want to be in relationship, and then move to Joey is of value. I trust that he can get me what I want when that need comes up. So there you go. All right, let's move forward. Does that make sense, you guys? Yep, there goes the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give it one more push, Carly. A great tool in this. Again, this is a journey. This is the great timing, because you're going to learn about these tools more in depth in the business planning clinic, and at least you won't spend the business planning clinic trying to understand what the tool is, right? And so what you see behind me that I showed you, right, is a 1-3-5, right? And that's one major goal. Let's go this way. Oh God, I can't get the relationship. There you go. One major goal, 3 one major business objective, the $100,000, 3 goals in achieving it right here, where a sphere, farming, and social media, and then 5 strategies to getting that goal achieved, right? Here we go. The 411 then takes those activities and goals and starts to breaking it out into annual, monthly, and weekly. Okay, this is something you create and you look at daily. People you don't focus on the end result. You don't focus on the annual goals. You look, what do I need to do today to stay on track, right? So I'll explain how to use this. To identify one of the 5 rectangles, listen to Keller Williams, we have a tool for tracking our big rocks and ensuring all our activities tie back to our goals. It helps us focus. It's called the 411. And now, if you're in the participants guide, it's page 7. It says, identify one of the 5 rectangles from the Envision your big life activity to focus on for this activity, right? So just take one of those rectangles. While all the elements of your big life are important, suggest you just select one that is the most urgent or would make the most, would make the others part of your vision easier, right? For example, paying off student loan, right, Renee? So it is possible that your big life vision will involve professional and personal goals. So don't limit yourself. We're focusing on professional goals for this exercise, but that personal goals are equally important. If you're able to identify a personal aspect of achieving your goals, you should add them along the way. So you could be putting your personal goals into the 411 also, or you can have a separate 411 for your personal goals. What would you need to achieve to make this part of your big life possible? For example, how much do you need to make this year to survive? Plus, how much extra is needed to pay off your student loan? So we're going to look at, if you have $200,000 in student loan debt and you want to pay that off in the next 10 years, you divide that by 10. That 10 into 200 is $20,000. That's $20,000 extra you want to make each year to pay off your student loan. And so in that, you will go to your big number and you will add that to it and you start to break this down. It now becomes part of your annual goal. You start to integrate. That's how you start to integrate these longer term goals into your business plan. And then, we'll figure out, and from this, we'll also figure out how do you, so you're putting in your annual goals, and you're putting in your weekly activities and your daily activities, all leading up to a game plan, right?
Right.
Yeah, and this I'm supposed to say as and what we want to get to is how many appointments do I need to reach my goal? How many listings do I need to reach my goal? We want to break this all down, and we'll do that all in the business planning clinic. Is where that all happens. All right. All right. So let's just move on a little bit here. Carl, there you go. Here's the reality also. The day-to-day life of a successful agent is very repetitive. You know that there are routines and procedures that result and that lead to your results. They need to live. You also need to live the life that you want, right? You want to build that into your goals. This is not abandoning your life for your business. And often that's enough to make them love the growth. There are many of you in this room who, once you start seeing your work pay off, will love the grind. You will enjoy honing your systems and skills to compete at the highest level. There are others of you in this room who will never love the grind. That's okay, right? That's a choice. It's a lifestyle choice. That doesn't mean you're doomed to fail. Even those of you who find you love it will have days when you need more of a push to motivate yourself. I want to give you something for those times. And what I'm going to ask you to do is something that you may feel is silly at first, but is a crucial part of building careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living, right? And the activity is to affirm your big life, right? All right, so we're going to create for ourselves a little ritual. Think back to your big life and the goals you set for yourself. Think about one of those people or causes that you named as something you care deeply about. I want you to use that person or thing you care about to create an affirmation. You're going to say that affirmation aloud whenever you begin a new task. The key to creating a powerful affirmation is to be specific. Tie the activity you are doing to the greater goal and remind yourself why your work matters. For example, let's say part of your big life is ensuring your mom is well cared for as she ages. And let's say that one way you want to do that to help her pay off her house, right? I want you to write an affirmation that you will say out loud before every call you make as you lead generate. For instance, you could say, I'm making this call to provide your mom, let's try it again. I'm making this call to provide for my mom by paying off her house, because she provided for me and I want to show her I appreciate her. I mean, think about the impact of having to say that. It sounds really tedious, but, talk about discipline, right? Renee, if you were to it's about staying connected to your big why. It's about staying connected. We're human beings. We need that emotional connection to provide that motivation in these mundane, repetitive activities.
Right. It's staying focused on the vision.
Yeah.
Your vision. Yeah.
Yeah. Or let's say we want to support a charity. You could say, I'm making this call to support the Ronald McDonald House by paying for families to stay there because I want to reduce the suffering of families with sick children. You start to feel the difference. It's about feeling the difference. It's about making an emotional connection with ourselves to the result. And so, using your big why, using your big life goals, keeping them in front of you is immensely important to keeping you connected emotionally to your goal. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Carly, you want to move one more? We have a quote there. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. And it's hard to be self-accountable, right? I don't know anybody who does it really, really well, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. There might be somebody on this call, you know.
Well, sometimes what helps me is having an accountability partner.
Absolutely. Peer partners, coaches, mentors, share your goal, share your dreams. They come alive in the sharing of it. You know, when you find a person that it's vulnerability, right? When you can be vulnerable with another human, sometimes it's better that it's a stranger, right? You don't have to deal with the dynamics of your existing relationship, but sharing it and going back to it with that person on a kind of on a schedule or periodically. The more purposeful you can be in that, the better your results will be. You will definitely achieve a higher level of success. No doubt about it. We don't give ourselves the same respect we give others. And in that, I mean, we make an appointment for the doctors. We show up on time out of respect for them. A lawyer, childcare. We show up for others. But if we set a calendar or a schedule that's in alignment with our goals, we can adjust that for ourselves and shortchange ourselves easily. We all do it. We all do it. So that's why accountability is really, really, really important. All right, guys. I think that covers it for today. Ahas. Revelations of any kind?
I loved it. I thought this class was amazing.
Oh.
I think it taught us to think big, set small and big goals, and to hold ourselves accountable to those goals. I just thought this was an amazing class.
Yeah, thank you, Joey.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's to think that business is, business and success in business is a binary experience that is just about doing what the next, if you do this, this, and this, you get this, this, and this. It's not like that. You have to look at yourself in some holistic way and understand, since you are the service provider, you have to understand what your machine is, right? What you bring to it and what you need to adjust. Then also, what you're trying to achieve in what time period and what activities that you can do best get you there, right? So this is the groundwork for building your business. Anyway, again, what you say, Bree?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I like what you said about stop thinking of the results, and just because I do sometimes tend to jump ahead and think like, okay, I need this outcome, and if it doesn't, I get discouraged. But just to not look too far into like, how is this conversation gonna work in my advantage, or am I going to get something out of it? Like, don't like think of it outwardly instead of what am I going to get from this. So
every person, Renee, this is what I know to be true in life. Every person that I see that I want what they have,
yeah,
there was a process in getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Very few were handed, there are those that were handed opportunities and handed lives that were easier than where I started, but that's meaningless.
Yeah,
I can't change where I started. I can change where I end up, but it's interesting to I wouldn't say If there's somebody that has something you want, take them out to coffee. Get in their head. Have them mentor you. Find out how did you achieve what you have? Mm-hmm. I bet you there's a story in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Going to your friend who has 5 kids, you're starting, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, there's a story there for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Joey.
No problem. It's my pleasure.